presumptive new Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, the man who seems to have rounded up enough votes to become the next Speaker of the House of Representatives, was on special report with Bret Baier last night, walking back some of the things that he had said earlier that had a lot of people riled up. That happened right there on Fox with Bret Baier, and he joins us now on the line. Good morning to you, Bret.
Good morning, guys.
All right, so that was he was a little in trouble. He got in. He sort of stuck it out there by saying that we've damaged Hillary because of the Benghazi investigation, and a lot of people said, "Why in the hell did you say that?" And a lot of people were very upset. I imagine chief among them, Trey Gowdy.
Yeah, I mean, last night the majority leader came on and said he had talked to Trey Gowdy and essentially apologized to him for saying what he said. The problem was, he probably was speaking what he believed to be true, and I think that's his biggest issue in walking it back. I mean, it was he said again and again and again he didn't intend to harm the Benghazi committee and the good work that they do and getting to the bottom of the investigation. But he said what he said, and Democrats obviously jumped on it, as did some Republicans, Brian, and I think he's probably going to get enough votes to become Speaker of the House, but he didn't gain any more votes this week.
Yeah, what we're hearing is that David Brock, one of those people who's always out there defending Hillary, has already said this morning, hey, there's our commercial. That's all we were waiting for. It really hurts. It really hurts.
Of course, and it's only 2 weeks ahead of, or 3 weeks ahead of Hillary Clinton testifying. So, I mean, it's a giant softball for the Clinton campaign to hit, and they are hitting it, as are her allies. That said, that investigation continues, and all of the spin-offs of that investigation, including an FBI investigation that now Jim Comey is talking about whether the email was hacked, and I think you're going to see some other shoes drop on the investigation part. But on this side, it was messy for the majority leader.
Also, if I can just a quick follow-up, Bret, because you've followed this story, we've followed this story. It was actually kind of inaccurate. This may be his opinion, but honestly, the Select Committee on Benghazi, they haven't actually released or even leaked a whole lot of information. I would argue that most of the political damage to Hillary Clinton has been a result of Judicial Watch and the FOIA requests and that end of it. That's how we've discovered so much. And frankly, the New York Times investigating the server issue.
Yeah, you're right. And, I think that's what was so puzzling for Republican lawmakers, is to watch someone who's been around the block, who knows, how to talk about things, and for him to say what he said, I think had a lot of question marks up there on Capitol Hill. Do I think it's going to prevent him from being Speaker? I don't think so, but I don't see a challenge to that as of yet.
Bret Baier is our guest, and the all-star panel, of course, the last 15 or 20 minutes, a special report is always appointment. Well, listen, the whole show is appointment viewing, but I do love the all-star panel. And this week, there have been a lot of stories about foreign policy because of the president and, the entire world speaking at the UN. All of these stories and all of these issues with Russia and Syria and the Middle East and our place there. Do you expect foreign policy to loom large in this election coming up? Because, school of thought in this town often is that people don't care about it.
Yeah, I do think it'll play a bigger role just because of all of the hot spots around the world that are hotter. You look at Iraq, you look at Afghanistan, where the Taliban is taking over territory, Kunduz in the north. You look at North Korea, that is saber-rattling. You look at, around the world, there aren't a lot of really calm places in either our allies or adversaries. So I think it'll play a big role, but I think every election, by the time we get there, will be about how you feel about things. And how you feel about things usually centers around, your kitchen table and how you're doing at home.
Of course, we had to stop yesterday because of the developments out in Oregon at the college there, and the shooting that left 9 people dead, 10 if you count the assailant. The president takes to the podium. Your thoughts?
Well, listen, he's passionate. He is frustrated. He wants to get what he calls common sense gun legislation through. We just noted that we didn't know anything. We still don't know a lot about the shooter, about the gun, about how he got the gun, about it was early in the game there to come out to do what he has done before. He clearly feels like this is something he needs to talk about and try to move lawmakers. But what happens if we find out that this guy is tied to some terrorist group? What happens if the story that he asks people, what's your religion, and if you're Christian, they shoot him in the head? What happens if that is tied to something bigger?
Yeah.
That's what the panel kind of weighed in on.
All right. Listen, Bret Baier, it is always a pleasure, and thank you for joining us this morning.
All right. Have a good one.
And
All right.
stay dry this weekend.
Yeah, ugly.